Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Bob Harrison. I'm the secondary technology coach here in the Dearborn Public Schools, and we're coming to you with our second session of Tech Coach's Corner, and we're going to talk today about Google Docs and Google Drive. And in the meantime, we have a couple people with us, or actually we have one teacher with us, Michael McCarter, and we're unfortunately having some technical difficulties, so we won't be able to hear from Michael today, but he's going to participate with us, and hopefully we'll have other people that will do the same in upcoming sessions. So welcome, Michael, from Dearborn High, I believe. I believe he's a science intervention teacher. So, and as always, my partner in crime and tech coach, elementary style extraordinaire, Amy Williams.
Hi, guys.
All right, so what we want to do today is just kind of walk you through the process of creating and editing and sharing a Google Doc, because this is a tool that if you haven't used it yet, at least for yourself, hopefully you've used it with your students, and that's kind of our end goal is that you learn how to use it in such a way that you can benefit, or your students will benefit from your using it. So the first thing that we want to walk through is how do you even start a Google Doc in the first place? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start right from square one. We'll start right at the beginning with how do you create one? And so I'm going to show you what my screen looks like here. And guys, if you can let me know if you're seeing the right things here. You should see my Google Drive right now. Let me just make sure that that's the way it looks here. Okay.
Yeah.
Amy, do you see my Google Drive?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So there are a few ways to start a Google Doc, to actually get one started. And one of the simplest ways is to start from your Google Drive. And you can get to your Google Drive by clicking Apps and clicking on Drive, or simply by typing into the URL bar here. We call this the Omnibox, drive.google.com. And by the way, since we have access to all these Google tools, all the Google tools are something.google.com. There's, for instance, docs.google.com, there's sheets.google.com, there's classroom.google.com, and so on and so forth. So all of the tools that you have at your disposal you can easily find just by typing in what the tool's name is, and then .google.com after that. So one of the ways that you can start a Google Doc is by going to your Drive and clicking this big red button on the left-hand side that says New. When you do so, you have a bunch of different options. You can create a new folder, files, as well as some of these other tools that at some point we'll show you how to use as well. But we want to focus today on Google Docs. So I clicked, again, New, and I'm going to go down to Google Docs. Now, what that does for me is it creates a brand new document that is going to be saved automatically in my Google Drive. Right? And you'll see as I start typing on this, and in fact, let me just give this this document a name. We'll call it Tech Coach's Corner Session 2. Okay? And you'll notice that as I start typing, the changes are saved in my Google Drive. And I want to add that that's automatic, right? I don't have to click anything in order to save anything in my Google Drive. You notice up here it says all changes are saved in Drive. They're right there. Okay, so there's no clicking File and then Save As or anything like that. Okay, so I just started a Google Doc. This will now appear in my Google Drive, and I'll be able to search for it with this name. Okay, that's one way to create a Google Doc. Another way to create a Google Doc is by opening up a tab, and as I mentioned before, typing in the words or the URL docs.google.com. When I do that, it brings up a couple more options that you'll notice. One of the options is that I can, actually maybe this is the only option, that I can select a certain template for my document. So if I was writing an essay, I could select one of these templates here. I could write a resume using a template down here. There are several resume templates. There are templates for letters, for reports and essays, and there are a whole lot more as you scroll down the page. But for the sake of time, let's just go with a blank document right now, since that's where most people start as they compose a writing sample. So again, I just click on blank, and it creates yet another Google Doc that will be found in my Google Drive, right? No worries here about the amount of space that I'm taking up, by the way, because as a teacher or a student in the Dearborn schools, because we have accounts, Google for Education accounts, we have unlimited storage space in our Google Drive. So you can create as many Google Docs as you want. Obviously, you might want to clean it up as time goes on, but it's not going to hurt anything to just start a new document here. So I'm going to close this one, though, okay? And we'll go back to the other one that I saved. There's another way that you can also start a Google Doc, and that is by clicking this little button here that says Apps, which again looks like a Rubik's Cube button, and you find that in a lot of places as you're on Google Apps. Here's another one that's monotone, okay, or monochromatic, I guess you would call it. It's black and white, so if I click on that Apps button, if you have the app loaded, you will find a Google Docs button here as well. So that's another way. That's the 3 ways that you can actually start a Google Doc. And once again, that's from your Google Drive by typing in docs.google.com or by clicking the Apps button and then going back to your Google Doc app. Okay. So, by the way, this session is going to be recorded, so anything that you hear or you see that you miss or you want to go back to, you'll be able to find a recording of the session later on our blog. So feel free to check back and take a look. Okay. So, with that being said, how do you actually use a Google Doc? Amy's going to walk us through some of the buttons and some of the features and tools that are in Google Docs. So, Amy, you want to take it away?
I can do that. So get my right screen. Okay. I've created a document. Bob, I can hear me through your computer. Oh. Okay, that's better. I've created a document here just to show you some of the things that you can do with Google Docs. And a lot of the same buttons that you see up here you can find in Microsoft Word. A lot of people are comfortable with Microsoft Word. It's pretty much the same thing in Google Docs. So I have just a little article here on penguins. And let's just say that I would like to make this right here a title. So I can go up here and I can select this and choose title. And if I want it to be centered, I can click on centered. If I would like to change the font of my text, I can do so by clicking on the font drop down here. Choose a different font. I can change the color of the text here. Works very much like Microsoft Word. I can also do those things within the text itself here. I can change to make it bigger. I can change to make it smaller. I can change that this way. I can also change the font here. So if I wanted something, and let's go with this one, something a little bit different, I can bold, I can italicize, I can underline, I can change the font size here as, the font color here as well. But I can't deal with red, so we're not going to do that. But just know it's an option. You can also change the alignment through these buttons here. This is center aligned, this is right justified, this is just justified. Go back to the left justified. This can change your line spacing to make it more spaced out. You can add a numbered list, you can add a bulleted list, you can even change the bullets that you use. This would be indenting, decrease indent, and this is increase indent. So a lot of these are the same buttons that you would see if you were using Microsoft Word. Something that you might want to do once you've decided to type all this stuff in is check out these red lines right here. Obviously, if you see some red lines under your words, something is wrong. So here we have a red line under this word. If I put my mouse on top of it and then I right click, I get this whole menu here. And Google is offering me different choices with this. I can research this word, I can define this word, but what I really want to do is just change it to be spelled correctly. So if I click on this word right here, swimming, where obviously it's spelled correctly, Google will go ahead and replace it with the correct spelling. Now, if you look over here, my word there is spelled correctly. But if you read the sentence that it is in, you'll notice it's the wrong there. So Google's pretty smart. It can even pick up when you've used the wrong homophone in your writing. So if I right-click on it again, I can select the right word, and it comes, and Google will replace it for me. Now, let's say that I would like to include an image in here, because who doesn't want a picture in their writing? So I click down where I want the image. I can click on the insert and click insert image, and I can search. So obviously I wanted to search for a penguin. Notice I clicked search over here. I could upload a picture if I had one too. I could take a snapshot, which would be what the camera on your Chromebook or laptop or desktop sees. You would have to have a camera on one of these devices to use this option. You can insert a URL. You can go into one of your albums you have on your computer. You can choose an image that you may have saved in your Google Drive, or you can search. And in this case, I'm going to search for a penguin. And lo and behold, here they are. So I'm going to click the one that I like, and I'm going to click select. And now Google plopped this big, huge picture of a penguin in my document. And if you notice, it's not even on the same page. So I'm going to fix that. First off, I'm going to make it smaller. And I do that by selecting the image and grabbing a corner of the picture. And I drag it in. Now I've made it smaller, and now it's on the same page as my text. If I want to move this around, I have options. Right now it's in line, so I can center it by clicking on the center button, or I can right justify it by clicking on that button. But if you want to be able to move it exactly where you want it, you're going to have to break the text to do that. So once you break the text, you can drag and drop it pretty much wherever you want it to go. So that's how you would insert an image. Notice there are some options here. So you can change the color and things, but you can also right-click on it to get some more options like cropping. So if you wanted to crop your picture, make it just a little bit less snow and more penguin, you could go ahead and crop it just like this. And then when you hit enter, your cropped picture shows up. So that's how some formatting choices and how you would insert an image into a Google Doc. So Bob's going to show you one of the most important features of Google Docs, and that's how to share a document. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, Bob.
That's right. That is, once again, one of the, actually, probably the most important feature of Google Docs, and that is the ability to work collaboratively with others. And you can collaborate on a doc with other teachers, with other staff members, and you can collaborate with students, and students can collaborate with other students as well. So this is something that takes the experience of working on a word processor to the next level, and allows you to work together, to work in real time with other people on the same document. So what I want to do next, like Amy said, is walk you through some of the ways and the reasons behind why you would want to share a Google Doc. And to do that, I'm going to share my screen once again with you. So let's go back to the document that I created before, and let me just make sure that everybody is seeing. I believe everybody can see my document here. So here's my document. You'll notice up in the top right-hand corner you have this blue button that says Share. And at this point, if I hover over it, it says that the document is private only to me. And this is really important because people, when they think or when they start creating things online, they're sometimes afraid that everyone gets to see whatever they've created, and that's not true. Unless you deliberately share a document with somebody, nobody else will see it but you. Okay, so right now this document is private only to me. Okay, And again, you notice that the icon that is here is a lock. So if I click on the share button, it brings up my share window. And within the share button, or I'm sorry, within the share window, I can enter the names of people that I want to collaborate with, or that I want to work on the document with, or that I want to see the document. And those two people at this point are Amy Gwiz and Michael McCarter. And so I'm going to share those two. And also, we'll see if Troy is around and he can take a look at our document. We'll add him to the list as well. Now, the most important thing that you can do on the screen is pay attention to this button right here, because that is what is going to give privileges to the people with whom you are sharing the document. Right now I have 3 people, and if I was to go down here and click the button that says Send, it would go to these 3 people, and they would have the rights to edit the document. That means they can make changes, they can add things, they can delete things, they can move things around, they can do whatever they wish with the document as if they owned the document just like me. Okay? Now, there are 2 other settings that you can change this to. One of which is, I'm going to skip the one in the middle and go all the way down to Can View. Let's say I made a document and I'm not really interested in anybody else changing anything. I just want them to see the document. It could be an assignment description, it could be a syllabus, or something like that. You know, you would set it to Can View and share it with those people. And by the way, you can share it with whole buildings at a time if you'd like. Let's say I wanted to share it with all of Laurie Middle School. Okay? So they would all have the ability to view the document. Okay. Now, in between Can Edit and Can View is Can Comment. Right? That allows whoever has the rights to be able to add comments, give feedback on the document, but they wouldn't actually be able to change the document itself. And I'll show you how to comment on a document later on. Okay, so right now I want these people to be able to edit the document with me, and I'm going to delete Laurie Middle School here so that they're not all going to get editing rights to the document, unfortunately, this time. Now, if I were to hit send, all of these people would get a little notification in their email that says Robert Harrison has invited you to edit the document Tech Coaches Corner Session 2. Now, in a lot of cases, when you share a document with somebody, you're not really sure, or they may not be sure, what you want them to do with it. So I can add a little note in this box here that says, please take a look at this document and add whatever you wish and think is appropriate. Okay, so now they know that I'm specifically asking them to look at it and add things to it, you know, as they wish. Okay. Now, again, if I click the send button, because this box right down here is checked, all these people will get an email in their inbox that says, again, Robert Harrison has shared this document with you, invited you to edit it, and this is what he'd like you to do with it, and you get to see this text here. All right? If I don't want them to get an email, I can uncheck that box. They don't get a message, but it'll show up in their shared with me folder, and I'll show you where that is later on. Okay? So let me go ahead and click send, and notice here now that it says that it's shared with 3 people. Okay? And if I go over here, and hover over the share button, you notice first of all that the icon has changed. It's no longer a lock, it's now a couple people, and it tells me who or how many people I've actually shared the document with. Okay, and once those people get the email, they can go ahead, and Michael and Amy, you guys can go ahead and log into the document, and if Troy's with us too, he can go ahead and do the same if he's so inclined. And you start to see people pop up. So Amy is now looking at my document. She's editing the document with me. And there's Michael. Okay, so Michael and Amy, you can tell who they are by their cursors down below. Okay, notice the color underneath their picture matches the color of their cursor. Okay, and if I want to know where they are, if this was a longer document, I could just go ahead and click on one of their pictures, and it would take me right to the point where they were editing the document. Okay, so that's how you share a document with specific people. A couple things about sharing documents. First of all, when you do share, it doesn't mean it's shared forever. All right, so if you click on the share button again, you notice it's already shared with Michael McCarter and Amy Gwiz and one other. So if I click on that text, it'll show me all of the people with whom it's shared, and it will show me what their editing rights are. All right, so if I wanted to change somebody's editing rights to only view it while the others can still edit, I could do that. Okay, or I can take away their privileges altogether by clicking the X next to their name. Okay, so again, when you share, it can always be changed, and you can change people's privileges later on. Right? Now, that's one way to share with specific people or with a specific group. The other way to share a document that we're going to talk about today is sharing the link. Okay? Sometimes you want to take a document and you want to put the document into your blog or into your Google Classroom or something like that. And the way you do that is this, and this is key because anytime you put the link to the document somewhere, whether it be, like I said, on your blog or in your Google Classroom or in an email to someone or something like that, whenever they click on it, they're going to see the most updated version of the document. So if you posted it on your blog and then went back and changed it, if people click on the link after you've made your other changes, they'll see the changes that you made. So again, they see the most updated version of the document. To grab the link, to actually put a link on your blog, you're going to click Share. Let me just close this, so I'll go through that process again. Click Share, then click Advanced. Okay, and you'll notice at the top it says specific people can access, and that's me, Troy, Amy, and Michael. Okay. If I want to change that only specific people can access it, I click the button that says Change, and I have several options here. I have, first of all, right now it's off. Only specific people can see it. The next level up is sharing with anyone at Dearborn Public Schools with the link. Okay, so they have to have the link, and they have to have an @dearbornschools.org account in order to access it. Okay. It could be searchable throughout the Dearborn Public Schools. That would be this setting here. They don't even have to have the link. They just need to be within the Dearborn Public Schools. Or, this is the one that I use most often, anyone with a link, especially if you're going to put it on your blog. If anyone has the link, whether they are a Dearborn Schools employee, student, teacher, or whatever, as long as they have the link on your blog, they can click on it and they can access your document. However, it is not searchable to anybody on the web. So they must have the link, they must be on your blog and clicking on the link in order to access the document. Okay? And then the last one that you want to use with some caution is making it public on the web. Right, if you choose this, that means that it is out there, it is viewable by everybody everywhere, and if anybody searches for a word or words in your document, they'll be able to see your document potentially. It might not be right at the top of their search window, but it is definitely accessible by anyone out there. So if you are going to put the link on your blog, I would suggest anyone with a link. Right? Again, that allows parents and other people that don't have a Dearborn Schools account to view your document. Okay. Speaking of can view, notice what we're setting here is a link for people to view the document. If we wanted to change that to can comment, giving people the opportunity to comment on the document or edit the document, we could. But realistically, you're probably just making it available so that they can view the document. Okay? And once again, if you share the document, you put the link on there, if you make any changes after it, you don't have to re-upload the link. Since the link is already there and it's going to show the most updated version of the document, you just proceed with any changes that you want to make to the document. Okay? So I've chosen anyone with the link. Let me click Save. And it gives me a link to share. So I'm going to copy the link, and then I can go to my blog and I can paste it into the text of a post or something like that, and then people, when they see that post, they can click on the link and they can go directly to my document. Okay, so I'll stop there with sharing, and I think Amy's next here.
Well, actually, Michael has a question.
Oh, okay.
So look, we wrote it on the document.
Okay, so Michael's question was it's from Silent Michael, and again, we apologize to Michael that Google Hangouts is for some reason not allowing him to participate to the fullest extent today. But his question is, if I share a document with someone, can they also change who that document is shared with? Amy, did you want to answer that, or you want me to?
No, go ahead.
Okay, so if I share the document with someone, and these people have access to the document, they can edit, they can share it with other people, unless I check this little box down here.
We can't see it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me share my screen again. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me go back through that process again. I clicked share.
Nope. We still see you.
Oh, hang on. Oh, there we go.
Okay, that's better.
All right. Almost. Okay. All right, so there we go. Sorry about that. Thank you. And if I click share, it shows me the people that I've shared it with. So I can click on them, and you notice here that down at the bottom, it says prevent editors from changing access and adding new people. Unless I check that box, Troy, Amy, Michael, and I can all share this document with other people. Okay, so if I don't want them to share it beyond the people that I've shared it with, I can click prevent editors from changing access and adding new people. Now, that's not to stop them from making a copy of the document, right, and sharing that, which you can also edit by clicking this button, which, again, as you see, disables the option to download, print, and copy for anybody that is commenting and viewers. But I think people that edit the document can still make a copy, and they can still download and still print the document. So, but you do have those options to play around with down at the bottom of the share box. Okay, Michael, hopefully that answers your question. And let's go back to Amy here. And I think, Amy, you're going to talk about...
I'm going to talk about the difference between editing and suggesting.
That's right. Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Can you see the document, Bob?
I do, yep.
Okay. So here's the document that Bob created that we are all a part of today. If you notice up here, this says editing. Okay, so right now, because Bob gave me editing rights, I can edit this, which means that I can delete what Bob says, or I can change what Michael said. I can make any changes to this document that I want to, because I have the exact same rights as the person that created it when in editing mode. So when I want to make a change, I just do it. Now, if I were to change this mode to suggesting, then it becomes a little bit different. Now the best I can do is suggest changes be made to this document. So let's say that I'm suggesting here, that I'm suggesting to Michael that I think that he should make this bold. So I'm going to select this and choose the bold, and then I'm also going to change the font size because he's asking a question and I want it to show up. So if you notice over here, it says exactly what I suggested to change. So I suggested to format the bullet to bold and change the font size, and I suggested to format this sentence and make it bold and change the font size. Okay? Another suggestion I could make would be to come up here and I would want to type okay? So if I wanted to add that title to the top, let's see. And since I learned how to make it a title, I'm going to make it a title, I want to center it, and I want to make it red. And how about change the font? We're just going to get crazy here, Bob. So all of these suggestions that I made was right here. So, but notice that the suggestions only show the one to add this, because if the suggestion is accepted, it will be added exactly how I suggested it. So centered, font size, font style, color, all that. So notice over here in these boxes, because I am an editor, I can decide if I want to accept the suggestions or if I want to reject the suggestion. So let's say in this case, I want to accept the suggestion. Now this could be a suggestion made by anybody else who has editing rights, or I believe Bob commenting too can suggest.
Yeah.
Okay, so because I'm an editor, I can decide, make or break these suggestions. So I'm going to accept this suggestion here. Next here is the formatting of the title. So I'm going to go ahead and accept that suggestion. Now down here, there are I made two suggestions in one swoop, I guess. I don't know how you would describe that, but both of my suggestions were in one, right here, one box. I'm going to reject those suggestions. I don't want those suggestions. So if I reject those, notice that it goes back to the way that it was before. So as an editor, I have the right to either accept or reject suggestions made by other people who can comment on or edit this document. Does that cover everything, Bob?
I think so.
All right. I'm going to, yep.
Go ahead.
I'm going to send it back to you.
Okay. Now, that is obviously, again, a very key feature to using Google Docs, and that's, again, goes along with the collaborative nature of Google Docs. What I want to talk about next is very similar along those lines. Can you guys see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay. And that is not to go from suggesting, which I do recommend sometimes when you have student papers and student work that is being turned in, and you can see obvious changes that need to be made. And rather than changing it for the student and the student not even really realizing that you've made any changes, if you suggest and they have the option to very simply change it to your suggestion, at least they see what they've done that could be improved upon based on your feedback. But another way to give feedback on a document is to comment on the document. And so when it comes to commenting, you're not actually making changes on the document, but you are highlighting and drawing attention to a specific part of the text, like what I've highlighted here. All right, hopefully everybody can see that. When you highlight something, this little bubble pops up. And if you hover over it, you notice that it says add a comment, and so I will. Can they also change, this is well worded, Michael. Okay. So Michael knows that when he sees this highlight that there's a comment attached to it, and if he clicks on the highlight, if there are a lot of comments off to the right, the one that is appropriate to the text that I've highlighted is going to kind of slide over a little bit, and he can see that I think that it's well worded. Now, that opens up a couple other opportunities for feedback. Michael can give me feedback on my comment. He can reply to my comment if he wanted to. If, for instance, I made a change, or I did something, or I highlighted something that he disagreed with, he's welcome to, initiate a conversation with me about the comment that I've made. Okay. Now, once someone has seen a comment, they can do what just happened, which is to resolve the comment. Okay. So if Amy says the font color is hard to read, so I'm going to go through here and I'm going to change the color to something a little bit easier to read, like green, and I'm going to resolve that comment. And there you see Michael has commented on Amy's comment on his section of the document.
But because I'll always choose that color over green, Bob.
All right, so green is the best. So we can go ahead and resolve Amy's comment here, and it's gone away. So I fixed what she suggested that I fix, and so we can move on. Okay. When someone comments on your document, I believe they get or you get an email saying what they have suggested or or giving you the comments that they've offered, so that you can look at them right in your email and you can notice that they've made a comment on a section of your document. Okay.
Bob, you want to
Yep.
point out how if you click on the comments button, it'll show the comment history?
Yes, that's a good point. We forgot that with the last session. So if you go up here to comments, even the comments that have been resolved, if you wanted to look back at a document that a student has worked on that you've given them comments on, and you want to make sure that they've made the changes that you suggested, but since you've looked at 140 other documents, you can review what comments you've given. If you click right here on comments, you can see all of the interactions that you've had with the student in regards to the comments. Okay, and you see all the whole conversation. You can see who marked it as resolved. You can see when it was marked as resolved, and when the comment was given, and all those kinds of things. All right, so really important part of commenting on a document. I recommend that when you have students working on Google Docs, that you have them share the document with you immediately, because there's nothing more valuable to students than having real-time feedback as they're producing the document, not waiting until they've finished their document and turned it in. So if you have them create a document and immediately share the document with you, you have that opportunity to see what they're doing on the document and to give them feedback as time goes on, okay, as they continue to progress through writing the document. Okay. Now, if students are going to work on documents together, they can comment on each other's work and things like that. But a lot of times you have a document that 2 or more students are working on, and it's sometimes pretty easy and obvious to tell that one student has done a lot of the work and other people haven't done so much. Or let's say there's something that's not very appropriate on a document and you want to find out who to hold accountable for it. Amy's going to tell us how to do that. So.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yep, we got it.
Okay. So here we have the document that we've all been working on together. And if I wanted to see who did what, I'm going to go back. First of all, I'm going to put this back to editing. I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to go to the File menu and choose See Revision History. So when I click that, if you notice, a lot went on this document. It starts off with the most recent revision, and it goes down to the very beginning of the creation of the document. So if I click on this revision, you can see that there's nothing here because Bob had just created it. If I click up, you can notice that at 3:44, Robert Harrison made these changes. Okay? And if I put my cursor over that, I can see that Robert Harrison typed that. Now, notice that I have this choice to restore this revision. If I wanted to, I could click this button and I could return my paper back to its original glory when Bob first started to type it. That is always an option. Okay, and it'll be an option through each one of these revisions.
And that's a really important feature to point out too, because a lot of times, or sometimes you share a document with another person or several other people, and they make a bunch of changes that you are really not okay with. You can always go back to what it looked like before you even shared it with them, and then you can unshare it with them. So.
Right, that'll teach them a lesson. So if you notice that there's a purple box next to my name here, and notice that what I typed is also in purple. So what was already there is down with Bob, but now the new person that came in, Amy, has purple writing. So if I wanted to take the document back to this revision, I could click Restore this revision, and it would take the document back to this setting right here. As I move up, we notice that now Michael McCarter joined our document here, but there's nothing that he's typed yet. But if you go up here, we now see that at 4:08, Michael typed into our document. Okay? And you can see when I put my mouse on here that it'll tell me exactly who did it. Now up here it doesn't, because that was the option back here. So as the person adds something their first time, you can then see who typed what. But at 4:08, when Michael came here and he typed in here, I could restore this revision again and go back to the original setting. As I work my way through the revisions, we notice that here Amy came in and I made some suggestions. Okay? And as I click my way through the revision history, I can see what was revised by who and exactly at what time. So that is the revision history. You are not anonymous when you're on Google. We know who you are, what you typed, and what time you typed it. So that's very helpful for teachers, especially in a peer editing setting. Bob, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
All right. Now, in addition to all the stuff that you've seen on Google Docs, let me just get my screen back together here. There are some add-ons that you have at your disposal when it comes to Google Docs. Can you guys see my screen again?
Yes.
Okay. As you see, when I click on add-ons, I've downloaded several add-ons, and I'll just take you through an overview of some of them so that you can see what benefits you have by adding things onto Google Docs. All right, so one of the add-ons that you can go ahead and download by clicking add-ons and then get add-ons, which takes you to kind of like a little add-on store, is this add-on called EasyBib. All right, so let me just open that up and go through this one a little bit more extensively than the others because I think this is pretty cool. What this allows you to do is to put a nice, neat little bibliography at the end of your paper that cites all of your sources in the style that you choose, like MLA or APA. So let me just go to the Tech Coaches blog. Let me just take a look at one of the posts that we have here, and I'll grab the URL from the post. We'll go with using rubrics to give feedback on iLearn. And if I just copy this, let's say I use this to, to write my document, to do a research project or something like that. If I just capture the URL here by copying it, and I go back to my document, once I've enabled EasyBib and open it up, I can select a website and paste the website URL there and click search. And when I do, it gives me one option, and that is this. So I'm going to select that. And that's going to become part of the bibliography that I can add to the bottom of my page. Okay? And to add the bibliography in this style, I'm going to choose, let me choose APA this time. I can go ahead and click the style and click Add Bibliography to Doc. And you notice right down here at the bottom, I now have my source correctly cited in the proper format, all by pasting my URL right here. And you can do this with a book or a journal article too. It'll do all of the work that we used to have to do by consulting websites and all kinds of not very exciting books. So that is one add-on that you can use. Other add-ons that I would recommend that you try out, the highlight tool. This allows you to highlight things in different colors. So you can pick the colors and you can determine what they mean. And then later on you can kind of collect all of the highlights in certain colors into another document. It's really kind of cool to check out. So that's a highlight tool. Kaizena is a tool that allows you to give audio feedback right in a document. So it takes a little bit of setup, but it's very cool. I've been playing around with some rubrics here. Haven't gotten them to work very well, but jury's kind of still out on those. And the other one that's really, really important to have at your disposal is the table of contents. If you have a long document or you're putting together a bunch of different sections of several documents or something like that, and it ends up being a 3 or 4 page document with headings above each one of the sections, you can create a table of contents that allows you to navigate very easily through the contents of the document. So that's another one that I recommend. So again, you click on add-ons and you go down to get add-ons, and you can browse through some of the other ones that are available to you. Maybe there are others that I don't have that you'd like to let me know about. Okay. Now, one other tool that we want to tell you about before we finish today is called voice typing. Okay, so this is not an add-on, it's actually a tool. So if you click on Tools and you go down here to Voice Typing, it enables a tool that is exactly what it sounds like. It is voice typing. You type with your voice. Okay, and this is helpful when you have something that you want to transcribe and you don't want to have to type it all out, or if you have a student that has difficulty with typing or would rather speak the text than use their fingers to type it. If you click Tools and you go down to Voice Typing, you can turn it on, and as soon as you turn it on, it will record everything that you say as text on your document. Now, it's not perfect, and a lot of times it will record things that you didn't actually say, so you really have to pay attention to what it is putting onto the document. And you'll also notice that it doesn't automatically put any punctuation into the document. So you actually need to speak the punctuation into the document. And this is how you do it. Colon. You just say the punctuation, period. When you want to have a dot at the end of your sentence, you say, and there you see the dot in the middle of my sentence, and there too, it's kind of funny. You can also put commas into your document by saying comma, and then whatever you say after that will come after the comma. So, period, we'll stop that there. There are other ways that you can edit the document with your voice as well, but it takes a little bit of getting used to and learning some of the commands and things like that you can use when voice typing. So you can, at this point, do pretty much everything that you can do with a keyboard with just the sound of your voice. So with that, let's finish up here and close out our session. Amy, did you have anything else to add?
No, I think we covered it all, Bob.
Okay, good. And again, Michael, thank you for joining us. Sorry about the technical difficulties that we had. Hopefully we'll work out the kinks and we'll get better at that for the next session. But if you are watching, whether you're watching the recording or watching live, we thank you for joining us, and we will come to you soon with some other Google Hangouts on Air, in which we'll show you some of the other tools that you have available to you as a teacher in the Dearborn schools. Thanks for joining us. Have a good day.